Alright, I took apart the computer-controlled Quadrajet on this car, and I didn't count the number of turns on the lean stop, which was my mistake. So today, we're going to set the mixture control solenoid. First thing I did is I made this tool. Of course, you can buy the tool, but what I did is I cut this longer than 1.304. The wire cutters, of course, do not cut this perfectly flat. Then, second, I soldered it, and of course, optimum lighting. Kind of a good job. No. Anyway, so then I put this up to a grinder and I ground these perfectly flat and I got it to exactly 1.304 of an inch. Now, so yeah, one guy said you tighten down this screw and then you back it off 4 turns. That got me fairly close. Another guy said his factory manual said 3 1/8 turn. When I put my tool in there to measure, I actually backed it off around 3 turns, so I'm pretty close to the 3 1/8. And so what you do is when you tighten this down, it moves the entire solenoid. And I don't know if you can see, I could push on that because it's spring loaded. So I think what you got to do is you tighten this, then you actually push this down, hold it in the down position, and then I can insert this tool here and measure. Okay, so right now you see there's slop, and that's because it's in the upper position. Now, the other thing is, it wasn't immediately clear to me where the bottom of this measurement tool sits, so I'm going to show you. Hopefully this will make your life a little easier. Okay, hopefully you can forgive me the funky lighting. So here's your float right here. This is the top of your mixture control solenoid. This here is your metering rod underneath that spring. You see I just poked it and it wiggled. That spring, so it springs up your metering rod. And then the spring sits against this little guy, which is part of the jet. And then if you look down here, that's important right there. Just touching it now. That's actually the shoulder of where the jet screws in. And that's what this sits up against. Not the bottom of the carburetor, but that shoulder right there. And then you push that solenoid down into this. So obviously right now it's at the non-existent rich stop. But yeah, if you push it down, I have just the most microscopic rattle up and down with this tool. So that should be really close. Now, 2 other things. Well, I guess I don't have it because I thought I put it right here. I must have bumped into it and knocked it off. But anyway, that mixture screw had a little thing that stuck on the top of it, and I was thinking about leaving it off just in case I ever wanted to adjust it from the outside of the carb through the hole. The other thing is, let me zoom to fix the lighting. This is a standard tire valve core removal tool, and it fits just perfectly on there. Now, obviously, this is a stubby one, but if you had one of these that was long, you could actually adjust this screw from the outside of the carburetor, because there should be a hole above this piece, a hole in the top of the carburetor. And then the other note is, in order to use this tool that I made, it requires that you leave this piece out. And I presume this is just to prevent splashing. And I think I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to leave it out. I'm not going to count the number of turns and reinstall this. I'll just simply leave it out. The other tool that you would normally get is a cylinder, and that would require that you tighten down the solenoid until it hits that tool, and then you unscrew it completely and you count the number of turns. And I thought, well, what if it doesn't catch on the first thread or something? You know, I don't know. So I like this because I can adjust it and then leave it, not have to take it out and back in. So it will require that you remove this. So I got the gasket kit off of Rock Auto. This is the cheapest one they had, the gasket set. It was listed for this car, and I don't understand, none of the gaskets in the kit were actually technically correct. And if I went up 2 price points, it did have a gasket that was correct. So I don't know, I guess look closely at this gasket if you're buying for a computer-controlled Quadrajet. I mean, you should probably look at this gasket closely in general. I was probably a doofus not to do that. But I don't know, I was excited, and it was, you know, 15 bucks or whatever. But anyway, so I was missing this hole. And the hole I made is actually fairly close to what the hole would have originally been. But this hole is for the throttle position sensor, so I had to make that. Now this, I made this bigger, and I removed, there's a little chunk of gasket that goes across there. I removed that. Nothing actually compresses here, so this isn't a sealing surface. This is just free-floating gasket. I did this because I wanted to install the mixture control solenoid, and I wanted this gasket very easily to pass over the top of the mixture control solenoid, and hopefully it does do that. I figured because you got to fight with the accelerator pump a little bit to get this together, I thought it would be easier, rather than having the accelerator pump under this gasket and the spring of the accelerator pump pushing this gasket up and threatening to tear the gasket and giving you a hard time. I figured I would just drop this on. Yeah, and you see it passes over that solenoid pretty good. Not perfect, but it's probably good enough for a one-time installation. So.
Yeah, man. There it is. So this is super crazy dangerous. That right there is Balin the Mia, and we are going to do something really stupid today. It was a terrible idea. Balin might die. It was making me uncomfortable. Go, Balin!
You riding this?
What the fuck is happening?
Balin said not to talk crap about this camera. It's a piece of shit.
This is so unbelievably sketchy. Why would you put me through this, you jerk?
That's the power of really old engineering.
It'd be nice if it didn't kill me. It's not required.
I felt it fucking pop.
Make a wish, everyone. Make a wish. Not okay. You went too far. This guy, man. This guy.